Namaskar. Hello, friends. Today I am starting a new topic. We will start talking about the most fundamental metaphysical question: who am I? Let me begin with an illustrative story. The story is titled Mistaken Identity. I was once invited to our village to attend a function for inauguration of piped water supply. The inauguration function consisted of a mandatory puja, that is ritualistic worship of the pipe, and a tap in the Gram Panchayat, that is local self-government body for a village premises. The Sarpanch, who is the elected head of the Gram Panchayat of that village, applied kumkum, that is vermilion, and put some flowers on the pipe and the tap. Some women performed an arati, that is offering of a lamp to the deity, accompanied by singing of the deity's praise, after which the valve was opened to release water. This very common incident that we see so frequently left me contemplating about a larger issue that extends to the spiritual realm. The pipeline and the tap are in reality mere conduits for the water. What we need and ultimately use is water and not the pipe or the tap. Also, the water actually comes from a reservoir somewhere away. However, the villagers performed puja of the pipe and the tap clearly because the latter seemed like the obvious benefactors, though quite inanimate objects by themselves. Later, while chatting with the villagers, I was also told about an incident where the villagers in a nearby village burnt down the Gram Panchayat office because the taps in the village went dry for a few days. The above two incidents of different kind have a common theme, which is ascribing false identities. The identity of a benefactor did not really belong to the pipeline or the tap, though they were instrumental in bringing water. Similarly, the identity of a culprit for the taps running dry did not belong to the Gram Panchayat. There must have been some other reason. In our life on this planet, too, we seem to assume and ascribe false identities. We tend to hold a person responsible for what she did, good or bad, though spiritual wisdom says that we are not the doers. Prakriti, that is the divine phenomenon behind this creation, is the real doer. Thus, we deify someone when he obliges us in a significant way. On the other hand, if we are hurt in some way by someone's act of commission or omission, we nurse an enmity against him. To describe this mistaken identity, great spiritual philosophers give the metaphor of a crow sitting on the back of a buffalo and believing that it is driving the buffalo. Our concept of bodily identification, both for ourselves as also for others, is similarly a false idea of identity. Our bodies are simply instruments or conduits through which the Creator achieves His different activities in this world in keeping with His big picture. But because of our limited and narrow physical perspective, we do not appreciate this spiritual truth. A conduit simply allows the water to flow through it, and it does not use up any water, nor does it retain any water inside it. However, since we do not appreciate that our bodily existence is like a conduit, we wrongly believe that all the actions of our bodies are ours and all our bodily experiences are for us. This is the cause of our grief in this world. Lord Shri Krishna therefore exhorts us in Srimad Bhagavad Gita to to transcend our bodily identity. He tells us to regard our life as a yajna or yaga, which is a fire ritual to please gods. With every action normally associated with our body being an offering in that yajna before the benefit, sorry, for the benefit of the Creator, the experience that our bodies get should be accepted as prasada, that is a small part of the food offered to the deity, which is given to the devotee as a token of blessings from the deity. Offering in the yajna is of prime importance, while the prasada is only incidental. I'll go to another example, which is of a limited liability company. We know the concept of a limited liability company. It is a legal entity that is impersonal, invisible in physical sense, yet it is acknowledged as real in the business, economic, legal world. It is actually a conceptual bundle made up of staff, sorry, products, production facility, office premises, memorandum of articles of association that lay down what business the company can do, the processes for manufacturing, code of conduct, customers, etc. Legally, the collective, namely the company, is recognized as an entity and is accountable as such for the acts attributable to the company. But the company does not do anything because it is not a live entity that can do anything, nor is it a physical entity that can be operated by us to achieve something. Whatever is done in the name of the company is done by some people who are employees in the company. For example, the workers in the production shop operate machines and produce goods. These goods are sold by the marketing staff, and the money that is realized is credited in the name of the company. Thus, all the work is done by people, but the credit goes to the company. Similarly, the various constituents of the collective are not individually liable fully for the acts attributed to the company. Each constituent is liable only to a limited extent. For example, an employee is liable only to the extent as decided by his service rules and code of conduct, apart from the laws of the land. So, for example, an employee is not required to pay the monies owed by the company to a creditor. Similarly, the shareholders are liable only to the extent of their shareholding in case the company is wound up. However, a company can get hauled up, say in a court, for its misdeeds. There is no physical entity of the company that can go and stand in the court. The company is represented by some empowered employee. Any acts of commission and omission attributable to the company have separate implications for its constituents. For example, if the company makes losses, the employees may not get bonus or may even be deprived of salary for some time. If the company goes into liquidation, the assets of the company will change hands, employees will lose their job, and shareholders will lose the money they had invested in the shares of the company. In short, though credits and debits are assigned to the company does not suffer. It is the employees, customers, shareholders, directors who may suffer. The same is true about the pleasures that are enjoyed by the people associated with the company rather than by the company. Nothing is happening in a physical sense to the company. I, as a human being, am also somewhat like a limited liability company. I am also a collective made up of many different components and constituents like my body, mind, intellect, ego, etc. The liability of each of its constituents is limited. The body, for example, is liable only for certain kinds of experiences of pains and pleasures arising due to its exposure to the environment. The same is true about ego too. Mind suffers from the ups and downs due to fulfillment or non fulfillment of its desires. The collective of these constituents that each one of us separately calls as I is actually illusory, not a physical entity, but is considered real in this physical world. Most of the times, it is represented by the body in the physical world. Yet, it is not limited to the body. Often, the scope of I extends beyond one's body to the family, friends, community, country, etc. The I takes upon itself the responsibility for the acts of commission and omission of its constituents like body, mind, ego, and intellect. However, their implication for the different constituents is in different ways. For example, because of the way ego operated, the body and mind may suffer. Because of the carelessness of the mind, body and ego may suffer. The I, however, is non physical, intangible, and illusory, like a company. Many things are attributed to I, but they in fact do not really touch the I because that I is unreal in a spiritual sense, just as a company is unreal in a physical sense. So, spiritual wisdom lies in not bundling together the different constituents of our existence into an I and in not letting their acts and afflictions become mine. Instead, just be a passive witness to them, like a company. We will stop here. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Until then, bye.